Unfortunately, we're working with limited radar data today because our main radar site is actually down. That's the radar site at Joliet and Romeoville. But fortunately, we do have a backup, and this is actually what we're looking at right now. This is the Doppler wind field as seen from the O'Hare Midway radar. This is actually the O'Hare site. Let me switch you real quick over to the Midway site. Folks, in the meantime, over in southern Cook County, Chicago Heights, Homewood, over to even south of Tinley Park and Madison, we want you to go ahead and take your tornado precautions right now. It is unlikely that there is a large, dangerous tornado on the ground, but what we're most likely seeing with this is the potential of a little funnel cloud forming and briefly dropping or briefly making connection with the ground. The National Weather Service issued this warning because you can see the red area where the wind is blowing away from the Midway radar. Right next to the green area, this indicates that the area right there on just east of 57 and 30, moving towards Chicago Heights, this is rotating. So again, a tornado warning issued in southern Cook County, only for an extremely small portion of the county, from Madison, where the circulation is located right now, over to Homewood and Chicago Heights. Again, this is not expected to be a long-lasting tornado. The tornado warning, which is in effect right now for areas south of downtown Chicago, this is only in effect for 12 more minutes, so until 12:45. And there's actually the potential that the National Weather Service cancels it even earlier than that. But as of right now, the National Weather Service telling us that the rotation has tightened up here in southern Cook County near Madison. It wasn't quite at the tornado warning threshold, but now there's a bit of enough rotation in the atmosphere. Especially in that latest scan there, we're actually seeing the rotation tightening just a bit there near Madison, heading toward Chicago Heights, that they did go ahead and issue the tornado warning. So this is most likely for a funnel cloud that could briefly touch the ground as a tornado. National Weather Service also telling us here live on air that there are several areas of weak rotation, one near Madison and another near Richton Park. Either of these could produce brief tornadoes, and this is again the rotation that we're looking at where the green meets the red. The tornado warning, according to the National Weather Service, continues for two areas of rotation, again near Madison, Olympia Fields, and Richton Park. So what's most important, we apologize if we're interrupting your programming elsewhere in the area, but of course for our friends down here in southern Cook County, we really need you to take your tornado safety precautions right now because there may be a brief tornado on the ground. That includes if you are in a one-story building with a basement, go to the basement. If you don't have access to a basement, we want you in the interiormost room of your house or apartment. Maybe it's a stairwell, maybe it's a bathroom, as many walls of protection between you and that outside world as possible. Again, a tornado warning continues for two distinct areas of rotation right next to each other there, near where 57 hits 30 and moving eastward toward Chicago Heights. Our meteorologist Ed Curran also with team coverage here as we watch these areas of rotation. Ed, you are joining us here from our second studio. Thanks so much for your help on the coverage. What are we looking at, according to you, out near Madison?
Well, as you said, we do have this spin up, which just popped up. Unlikely, as you said, that it would be a major tornado, but still any tornado warning is something we want everybody to take precautions of. This is sitting down in the south suburban area of Madison, and it likely spun up on this small storm that was coming through here. You know, a lot of the rain that we saw today has been quite inconsequential, really, but we're looking at the spin up from here. So just enough energy to get something going in this very small area, which is on the southern edge of Cook County, just bordering Will County. Now, this particular tornado warning goes for just a short time more, which is another indication that it is not a major tornado of any kind. But as I said, any tornado, of course, is of great importance here. So we're watching this continue to track. We're watching it carefully. We've had some heavy downpours out of some of these storms that have come through. This goes till 12:45, so only for about 8 or 9 more minutes. It is radar indicated, which also is an indication that you have to be careful with this particular storm because even though it is radar indicated, it means that there is rotation, but the rotation is just happening above your head a ways. So I don't think anybody wants that. This is the storm we're talking about right here. This is on the edge of Will County and Cook County, and we're keeping a careful eye on it as this thing has spun up suddenly. David?
Ed, thanks so much, and jump back in whenever you see something necessary that we need to update our viewers on. Let me get you oriented again as we are tracking a tornado warning in effect for only 8 more minutes. 12:45 is when it expires, not for much of Chicago, but for extreme southern Cook County. This is a really close-up radar view from our terminal radar at Midway, so it's only a few miles away. This is allowing us really well to see what's going on at the ground level in the atmosphere, and here's where we're concerned with. West of Chicago Heights, close to Madison, this is an area that concerns me. Inside of the tornado warned zone, not this initial rotation moving down 30, that one appears to have weakened, but instead it's this area right there north of it that's certainly concerning me right now with a tighter rotation, and that indicates we have a potential tornado on the ground southwest of Homewood. Let's zoom in really tight here, and you can see if there is a tornado on this storm, it's located on Vollmer Road, right where it meets Crawford Avenue. And keep in mind, we get minute-by-minute updates on this radar, so it's the most accurate and most timely that you will find. But even this may be 30 to 60 seconds behind. So as this moves eastward at about 10 miles per hour, these are the areas under the gun. Governor's Highway, where it hits Vollmer Road, likely tornado on the ground heading toward you. You need to seek shelter imminently in the lowermost, interiormost room in the building that you're in. Heading down Vollmer, this storm again is moving directly eastward at 10 miles per hour. So it's not likely to hold together for long, as Ed just mentioned, but if it does hold together, the next areas would be Kedzie Avenue and Western Avenue. This is just on the northwest side of Olympia Fields. Again, an update, we are following a tornado warning for a storm that is on the south side of Chicago. Close to Madison is where it developed, now moving east of that area toward Olympia Fields. The National Weather Service updating us that we have the strongest circulation currently near Franciscan Health Olympic Fields Hospital, just west of the Olympia Fields golf course. So they're looking at the same thing we are right here, right on the northwest side here of Olympia Fields. This is far south of downtown Chicago, remember. We have a potential tornado on the ground with this strongest circulation right here. This is moving eastward again down Vollmer Road at about 10 miles per hour. So if it maintains itself, if you are anywhere near Vollmer Road on the north side of Olympia Fields, we need you in your tornado safe place right now. If you know anybody, friends, family who lives there or is at work there right now, give them a call. Their phone likely sounded with their emergency alert and notification that all of us get, that loud piercing tone. But in case they don't know why it went off or what's going on, give them a shout. Tell them to join us here on CBS News Chicago. And most importantly, tell them to seek shelter right now. Let me get you oriented again. This is on the far south side of Chicago, where we are following a tornado warning in effect, currently only until 12:45, so just for about 5 more minutes from right now. Just to remind you, this storm is far south of downtown Chicago. We have heavy rain in the loop, but we are not watching any rotation there. Even this rotation, to be honest with you, was a bit unexpected. We are not included in an official risk of severe weather today. This is just really small-scale interactions, basically a big complex of thunderstorms that became so self-sustaining that it was able to start circulating. That either means heavy rain persisting for several hours, or it can mean little circulations like this that lead to funnel clouds or tornadoes. If you're in the area of Chicago Heights and Olympia Heights, we need you to not try to go out and look at the tornado. A lot of people want visual confirmation. Oh, I don't believe it until I see it. If there is a tornado with this, it is certainly shrouded in rain, which means even if it's approaching you, you will not see it. So instead of doing a little storm chasing yourself, we need you anywhere from Chicago Heights out toward Olympic Fields Hospital and Olympia Fields Golf Course to seek shelter right now. Let's go real tight again on that circulation and see if there are any updates to the strength of it. What it looks like to me is inside of this tornado warning, we had one rotation near Madison right there that may have produced a brief touchdown, at least a funnel cloud. Now that green next to red signature has waned. We'll have some gusty winds pushing in as this red area hits Chicago Heights and is hitting Madison right now, but that tornado threat has waned, at least for the time being. On the northwest side of Olympia Fields, look at this. There was the really strong indication of likely a brief tornado on the ground. I'll bet there was northwest of Olympia Fields in the past 5 minutes, but now that is weakening again. So folks in this tornado warned area, remain in your tornado safe place. But if you're on the northwest side of Olympia Fields, this is a little bit of good news. We're looking right here at Vollmer Road, where I advised you there's likely a tornado 5 minutes ago or so. Now the tornado has likely lifted or dissipated. Still no new updates coming in from the National Weather Service. Looks like if you are in this tornado warning, though, on the extreme south side of Cook County, we still need you to be in your tornado safe place right now. Ed Curran joining us with live team coverage. Ed, we've only got about 3 minutes left on this tornado warning, and unless we have some more small scale interactions like this, we will likely go the rest of the day tornado free, right?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, it seems that way. This thing spun up really out of nowhere, to be honest, came up. And even though you may not experience a tornado on the ground out of this, there was rotation indicated along with this tornado, and that's where the warning is right now. There was rotation indicated aloft with this. There was also large hail that approached an inch in size, about 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch. So the winds from this storm, together with the larger hail that we have, can cause damage. So there's more than one reason to be taking cover out here as we progress through the storm. But as you said, the velocity would indicate that there's some weakening as we start to take a look at it moving straight to the east, straight to far northwest Indiana. And David, you're right that it's really very obvious that it's weakening. I wouldn't expect this to be extended at all, would you?
I sure wouldn't, and I was just putting a track on this, Ed, as we continue to follow the forward progress. Likely that the tornado warning will expire for southern Cook County here shortly. Some gusty winds, some heavy rain continue near Madison and Chicago Heights. Also up toward, as we mentioned, Olympic Fields Hospital, Olympia Fields Golf Course. But the tornado threat itself has waned. Now, if we do have a circulation with this that may produce another little on and off tornado scare, here is where it will be and when. Indian Hill, we need to be ready to take our tornado precautions if this tornado warning is reissued after 12:45. Chicago Heights at 12:52, Glenwood at 1:05. And again, I suspect that a lot of these folks won't have to worry about a tornado, but this is the little circulating part of the storm that we've been watching, and these are the paths that it's moving to next. The National Weather Service telling us that the main circulation is now on the southwest side of Flossmoor, but the latest few scans from the radar show that the rotation, as we told you, is broadening and kind of gusting out. They are planning to let the tornado warning expire at 12:45. So we're going to stay with you now for another 50 seconds or so. We'll continue our coverage for a bit thereafter on streaming. CBS News Chicago. If you haven't joined us, you can watch us on Pluto, Fire TV, anywhere you get your streaming service. Just search for us. Again, we'll have extended weather coverage there. In Madison, you guys can now come out of your tornado safe place. We appreciate you heeding the warnings. The tornado threat for you, though, has now passed. If we do see any more tornado scares, it's going to be on the part of this storm that's a little bit farther to the east, just southwest here of Homewood. And again, it looks like we're seeing what the National Weather Service is seeing, which is this part of the storm, which had a brief little notch and a little inlet where a tornado may have touched down near Volmer Road. This part of the storm is weakening. So, folks in southern Cook County, the tornado warning is expiring right now. We appreciate you joining us here for live storm coverage on CBS News Chicago. We will break back into your regular programming right here should the storms warrant.
You're clear.
The CBS News Chicago First Alert Weather Team. This is a special weather alert.
And we continue our severe weather coverage this afternoon on streaming. CBS News Chicago. I'm meteorologist David Yeomans. If you were with us on air a moment ago or on the stream, we were covering a brief tornado warning for places like Madison and Olympic Heights. This tornado warning has now expired, but the circulating part of the storm continues to move eastward through extreme southern Cook County. We have plenty of steady, moderate to heavy rain moving through Chicago. Chicago is not under a tornado threat right now, and we have not been for the last hour, but it's mainly been down here. The storm that moved out of Frankfort and Tinley Park right there through Madison, Homewood. You can see how it got a little bit of a swirl with it briefly. The good news, not only is the tornado threat on the velocity scan decreasing, but also the rain itself appears to be weakening, which is going to make this harder to produce any tornadoes going forward. Still, though, we never want you to be caught off guard by any potential warnings that may pop up after that original one expired 2 minutes ago. So let's examine this circulation just for a bit longer before we release you to your regular programming. Just south here of Homewood, we have a potential rotation in the lower and middle levels of the storm, but this is no longer showing us any concerning signs of a tornado. The National Weather Service telling us that a flash flood warning just issued for the southern part of Cook and northeastern Will County. Rain rates have been over 2 inches per hour in a largely urban area. Again, we're about to see a flash flood warning hit the maps here for southern Cook County and northeastern Will counties due to the same part of the storm, which produced that brief tornado scare, maybe even a touchdown on Volmer Road in southern Cook County. This same area has been focusing the heavy rainfall now for a couple of hours, and this is leading to some street and basement flooding concerns. If you are in that area, you have any storm damage at your house, give us a call. CBS News Chicago, we'd love to hear from you if you can safely do so. Otherwise, best place to be on a day like this is just at home. We'll continue to cover the situation here on the stream on CBS News Chicago. Basically, a big shield of rain continues for much of us, including Chicago, for the next couple of hours before the rain tapers off this afternoon. If you are under that flash flood warning, which is coming for places like northeastern Will and southern Cook County, remember the safest place to be in a flash flood warning is at home. Most people get in trouble on the roadways in their cars when they try to drive through a big pond or water-covered area. I'm meteorologist David Yeomans. We'll break back in here from CBS News Chicago as warranted. In the meantime, stay dry and stay safe.
Thieves smashed the windows of 8 parked cars in the Dunning neighborhood. Our nonstop news crew on the scene spotted broken glass on the ground, also windows already taped up. This is on Nordica between Addison and Byron. We saw surveillance video here. One of the thieves climbs through a truck window to get inside around 2 this morning, but investigators say the thieves for some reason only grab items from one of these cars. One owner told us she's so upset that she and her neighbors now have to deal with